So we are back in the games room and it's time to open a box from KidShoryuken, my Patreon box. Yes, I am blessed. I received the package from the man himself who handpicks the finest games from the Mecca of gaming, Japan. I've actually received 2 boxes, so double the goodness. But I'll actually split up the video into 2. I don't want the video too long, as I do a normal pickups video anyway, which is long enough as it is. So let's kick off with the first box. Let's see what's inside. So let's dive straight into the box and the first game out. It's a Saturn game and it's Capcom's legendary Marvel Superheroes. This is a classic arcade game that came out in '95 on the Capcom CPS2 hardware. It is the second in the series. They had about 5 that came out in 5 years between '94 and '98. So this one came after the Children of the Atom. And finally the series ended up on the Marvel vs. Capcom, which is absolutely amazing. And this one is a pretty good one in the series and one of my personal favourites. It's actually criminal I don't have this on the Saturn already, but to be fair, I do have the CPS2 board, so you can forgive me there. It was actually released on all 3 territories, but the Japanese version is the one to get because of the price. It's extremely expensive to get the North American version or even the PAL version. It also came out on the PS1, but this is the version to get. I always say, if it's 2D, get it on the Saturn. If it's 3D, go for PS1. At first look, you'll be given to think this is just a Street Fighter 2 clone with Marvel characters, which to be fair was good enough for me. But it actually really nicely incorporates the Infinity Gauntlet storyline into the mechanics of the gameplay, adding a hell of a lot more depth than you would expect. Adding those stones in there that give extra powers, for example the Power Stone upgrades your attack, and also you've got special Infinity combos and Infinity counters. The addition of the Infinity Stones really makes you want to play the game through in one go without using credits, because you want to get all those stones before you face Thanos. I can tell you have to play the arcade game. This is a really faithful port, fantastic addition to the Saturn. That's a pretty impressive start, and next up is another Saturn game. It's Dragon Ball Z Shin Butoden. Not had the best of luck with Dragon Ball Z games. I recently picked up the PC Engine version and I struggled to play that one, but this one is a different ball game. This is definitely playable. There are a couple of Dragon Ball Z games that did make it to the West, but this one in particular didn't. This is a Japan exclusive. And as you expect with these kind of games, the visuals and the audio are true to the source material. But I have to say, I'm not the biggest Dragon Ball Z fan, so I did kind of struggle to get into this one because of the sheer number of moves and different characters. It was a bit overwhelming, but the game is very playable. And I'm sure for a Dragon Ball Z fan, this is an absolute must. Next up is another Sega Saturn game, and it's one I've never heard of. Get ready, it's called Linkle Liver Story. I definitely think something got lost in translation there with the title. I think they were going for Wrinkle River Story, but who knows. I really didn't know what to expect when I popped this into the Sega Saturn, but first impressions are very positive. Graphically it is gorgeous and it's a very playable action RPG. Music is okay, maybe a little bit repetitive, but I may need a bit of help here with the language. I think I need a patch or I need to use my phone to translate what the characters are saying to get further into the story, but what I have played, it seems pretty decent. Next up is another Saturn game, and it is a huge hitter. Huge. It is Astra Superstars. This is an amazing, stunning 2D fighter by Sunsoft that came out on the arcade on the Sega STV hardware, and is actually the spiritual successor to Waku Waku 7 that was on the Neo Geo. This actually came in the top 5 of my Sega STV games, not only missing out to some of the ridiculously good shooters that were on the system, but this was the top fighter. Similar to Waku Waku 7, it is a very quirky and fun and fast-paced fighter, but unlike Waku Waku 7, it is not on the ground, it is aerial, which adds so much more to the gameplay and makes it even more fast-paced. The roster of characters may not be huge, but certainly it is extremely interesting. Sunsoft did a great job with the balance of them too, adding a mix of characters that have either short-range attacks, meaning they're very heavy, hard punching characters, or they're missile-based ones that with longer range, which makes for a more tactical approach to the gameplay. They also included the heat-up mechanism into the game, where if you answer a question at the beginning of the fight in a certain way, you can severely piss off your opponents and make the fight even more aggressive than it normally is. It's kind of cool little feature added in there. This game is absolutely stunning, it is fast-paced, it is fun, it's everything that you want on a fighter on your Saturn, but this one is extremely pricey, I have to say. KidShoryuken pulled out all the stops to include this in the game box. I am absolutely stoked. 2 more games to go, and next up is a PlayStation 2 game. It is Bomberman Land 3. It's always good to pick up and get a Bomberman game, and this is exclusive to Japan and also to the PlayStation 2. It's a sort of mini game that's set in a theme park. The idea is you pick up these tokens to open up different areas to open up more mini games. I haven't opened up all the areas and found out what the different games are, but the most notable ones are there straight off the bat, which is including the Mario Kart style of game, which, yeah, let's stick with Mario Kart and play this one. You do need to click through a load of cutscenes to start off the proper action to get to probably where everybody wants to get to, and that is to play the classic Bomberman, and it's there. You don't have to open up too much to get there. This is definitely for Bomberman fans only. Luckily, I am. So we're down to the last game, and it's another PlayStation 2 game. It's Kamen Rider. To be honest with you, I don't know too much about Kamen Rider. It's one show that didn't really make it to the West, but it was huge in Asia, and when I was in Singapore, I saw this everywhere, at least the characters and stuff. So when I popped in the disc, I kind of knew what I was getting into. The best way to describe this is a simple brawler with puzzle elements and adventure elements, and it's set in an abandoned power plant or some sort of factory, and you wander around trying to solve different puzzles to get further into the different areas, and you get jumped on by these little gimpy Power Ranger sort of characters that you just beat the crap out of. Don't worry, the puzzle elements are fairly simple, so I didn't struggle with it at all, and so there's no really a language barrier there, but the brawling can be a little bit repetitive. There's not so many moves, but it's fun. You see exactly what you get with this game. You've got the atmosphere of the TV show, so if you like that kind of thing, if you like Kamen Rider, then obviously this is a no-brainer. You'll absolutely love it. Well, that's all the games in the first box. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did, getting Astra Superstars. Absolutely amazing stuff. Like I mentioned before, I am going to open the second box later, and it should be out in about a week. So, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.